Kelly Tallon Franklin, and I am a human trafficking and child sexual abuse survivor, and I currently work in the field of prevention, intervention, and postvention for minor age human trafficking victim survivors in Canada. I grew up in a wonderful house. My parents had money. They were both professional career people, but like some houses, there were some deep, dark secrets. And so I grew up in a home where there was sexual abuse and there was alcoholism in the home. And it was normal. One of the things that if you talk to survivors of human trafficking, if they've had experiences in their house with any kind of domestic or gender-based violence, it's kind of a precursor that grooms us to think that these behaviors are normal. I didn't know growing up that this wasn't happening in everybody else's beautiful home. Sometimes you look back, and even though, I was trafficked when dinosaurs roamed the earth, that when I look back at it now, I go, oh, that's what that was? Even now, I'm 62 years young. And when this started was basically when I was 15-ish. Turning 16, and then it continued, and then there was different chapters and episodes of it right through my life until at 24, when I was incarcerated for coerced crimes I was forced to commit as a victim of human trafficking. That's actually what helped me. Trafficking is coercion, exploitation, and manipulation of somebody for the benefit of somebody else, usually for money, but it could also be for love. It can also be for items. It can be for other types of control. And human trafficking is not just sex trafficking. It intersects with so many things that even in Canada, we haven't even got our heads wrapped around. Domestic servitude, forced organ harvesting, forced surrogacy, forced marriages, labor trafficking, which is huge, and now a lot of CSAM stuff, which is child sexual abuse material, the online stuff, sugaring, sugar daddying, camera work. It is exploded. And then of course we have the other areas, which are supply chains in some of the larger businesses, are the same things I continue to hear last night when I got a call. That I was in a position where I needed love and acceptance, and some people in my community were willing to give it to me. And so I just started hanging out in areas of communities that normally I wouldn't. And it just led to me initially making bad choices, because I didn't have guidance. And I say this a lot when we're talking about if there's family trafficking, if there's trafficking of minors, that every child, and this is proven by statistics and reviews by children's services all over the world, one secure person. If you have one secure contact as a kid, you can adapt and build resiliency to overcome everything. I didn't have that. So I looked for that outside. And the people that could see that I was desperate took advantage of me. I, at the time, and even into my 20s and even into my 30s, thought that was my fault. You are indoctrinated to believe that this is your fault, that you wanted this. You'll probably hear from many survivors that still wrestle daily with, I should have done this. I should have. And we have to have these conversations to know, no, first, the community did not keep me safe as a child. And that's a right in Canada under public safety. And the second thing is that I had no idea what was happening to me. And it was fun and exciting until it wasn't. Young women and girls, there's still girls missing that I knew back in the 80s. They're still missing. But what you need to know is I endured things that no child or adult should ever have to go through. And that's why we need to be dealing with this today, because that trauma never goes away. It's PTSD. So every day at 62, I leak. I don't even cry anymore. I'm not embarrassed for having tears. So it's not usually, I think it's about 2% that's like snatch and grab, like the movies. That is not how this happens in Canada. Very, very rarely. And when it does, it's usually somebody that's previously been trafficked, that's attempted to exit and gets pulled back in. So they will build a relationship. They will meet psychological needs, physical needs, love interests, and they will feign love, support. And through meeting those needs, they will build trust, and then they will alienate and bridge the person that they are hoping to commodify away from every support system and network that they have. And so that's why it's so important that every day when I'm working in this field, that I'm listening, because the trends tomorrow are not the same as they are today. Girls right now are getting asked to do extras. So some of the extras are they're laundry listers. So they're actually getting paid when they're kind of on their way home from client calls, or they're getting picked up to scan the neighborhood to find the Range Rover so they can be part of the cartel that's also moving cars. They're also getting calls now to be dial-a-dopers. So they're now dropping off drugs as an extra. So literally they're getting asked to do more. This is the evolution, and it's shifting every day. I say it like this. This has been happening for a long time, and we didn't do a good job as a nation of not tokenizing and leaving the stigma over survivors. So we didn't ask them to be part of the solutions. That's changed. It still needs to change even more. The statistics are like an iceberg. So we see this, and there's this much that people do not see, because there's an underreporting issue. There's an issue with trying to make sure, policing is not the only way to handle this. It's a very important way. But very often, if you even look at the statistics from the Canadian Centre to End Human Trafficking on how many disclosures actually come through there, more disclosures come through survivors doing the work in community and sharing those grassroots networks where there's measures of trust, that survivors will talk to another survivor. And we can assist them in getting out or supported, regardless of whether they're going to the police. If they want to go to the police, we'll definitely support them. And we promote prosecution wherever possible. But not every survivor can do that. And so we can't make that conditional on counting them as a statistic. And so in our stats, very often, we're missing the anecdotal data that you're talking to me about today, that corroborates the statistics and lets us know for every one of us that's disclosed, there's probably 75 to 99 that have not. And as survivor, I get to help peer mentor somebody to find their own power. It's in them. It's just been a little beat up. And so to figure out what they need physically, emotionally, spiritually, what they need for themselves to come back to that place where they're present, even if it's for 30 seconds in a barn with a horse, which we know wounded warriors and their PTSD work really guided what we're doing. And if they can find that space, then they have one thing to put in that toolbox that says, I'm in charge right now, right here. And then we say, how does that feel? What do you think? And most times they're like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel, because I haven't been allowed. I haven't been allowed to pick what color of nail polish, or what I get to eat every day, or what clothes I wear, or what city I live in, or. No, like all that control. So the difficult thing is supporting a survivor in their exiting, because it's different for every single one. It's person-centric. That really means each person needs an individual plan. We can't throw them together in a cluster and go, here's a great program. That's why we haven't been successful in Canada. I'm super privileged to have had horses that help me heal. You'll see my horses, you'll see that they help give me courage, and through that I found freedom. The horses helped me find my courage, that gave me freedom to help others find theirs. And so that continuation, along with it being important in Canada, that Project Maple Leaf, what I stand for, is we end the buying and selling of girls and boys, all persons in Canada, that it just needs to stop. And so I get up every day excited. I'm above the grass. There were days when I didn't think I would be. And so the fact that I get to support other survivors, to help equip them, all we do is peer support those that have to navigate a very broken system. And as survivor, I get to help peer mentor somebody to find their own power. It's in them. It's just been a little beat up. And so to figure out what they need physically, emotionally, spiritually, what they need for themselves to come back to that place where they're present, even if it's for 30 seconds in a barn with a horse, which we know wounded warriors and their PTSD work really guided what we're doing. And if they can find that space, then they have one thing to put in that toolbox that says, I'm in charge right now, right here.